A woman came into the London pharmacy where I work and asked for Tylenol. I showed her our paracetamol, explaining it's the same active ingredient. She refused to believe me. No, I need the American brand. The real one. Your stuff is probably weak socialized medicine. I only trust American pharmaceuticals to get the job done right. I worked at a high-end restaurant in Paris. An American couple complained that their water didn't have ice. I explained it's not standard in France. The man scoffed and said, "How do you people live in America? Ice is a right, not a privilege. It's in the Constitution. Look it up." He was dead serious. He then demanded to speak to a manager who could understand freedom. My friend is a park ranger in Canada. He told me about an American tourist who got angry because the park didn't have cell service. The tourist yelled, "This is a safety hazard." I'm an American citizen and I have a right to be connected. What if there's an emergency? You Canadians are just irresponsible with your nature. My friend just pointed at the emergency satellite phone booth 20 feet away. Overheard on a train from Amsterdam to Berlin. An American college student was loudly explaining to his friends, "The problem with Europe is that it's all so old. There's no innovation. They should just tear down all these old castles and build some decent skyscrapers and a few Walmarts. That's what progress looks like." I was a bartender in a small pub in Scotland. An American came in and asked for a Bud Light. I politely told him, "We only served local Scottish and British beers." He looked at me in disgust and said, "So you don't serve real beer? Only this foreign stuff." I had to explain to him that he was in fact the foreigner. While I was studying in Japan, an American classmate of mine tried to haggle at a 7-Eleven. The poor cashier was so confused. The American kept insisting, "Everything's negotiable." That's how capitalism works. You guys would have a better economy if you understood basic American business principles. He was trying to get a discount on a rice ball. My aunt works for the city of Florence, Italy. She had an official complaint from an American tourist who demanded the city turn down the volume of the church bells because they were interrupting his afternoon nap. He wrote that in a civilized country like the USA, noise pollution is taken seriously. I was on a guided tour of the Roman Forum. An American man asked the guide, "Why didn't they build this with better materials? It's all falling apart. In the States, our buildings are made to last." The guide, an Italian history professor, just stared at him for a full minute before saying, "Sir, it has lasted for 2,000 years. A new American manager started at our office in Stockholm. On his first day, he announced we'd be canceling the fika, a traditional coffee and cake break to maximize productivity and align with a more aggressive, American-style work ethic. The entire Swedish staff almost walked out on the spot. He was reassigned within a month. "Excuse me, why is everything in French?" An American tourist asked me in Montreal, Quebec. I explained that French is the official language of the province. She rolled her eyes. "But this is North America. We speak English here. It's just common sense. You're just making it difficult for your most important neighbors." I worked at a hotel in Costa Rica. An American guest called the front desk in a panic, saying there was a giant, terrifying bug in his room. I went up to find a small, harmless gecko on the wall. He demanded a full refund, stating that American hotels are pest-free, and this is a violation of basic hospitality standards. An American exchange student in my dorm in Madrid insisted on organizing a real 4th of July barbecue. He got angry when he found out most stores were closed because it was a Sunday. "Don't you people believe in freedom?" he yelled at a shopkeeper. In America, commerce never stops for some silly day of rest. While visiting the Great Wall of China, I overheard an American woman tell her husband, "It's impressive, I guess. But the wall we're building on the Mexican border is going to be way better. It'll have technology. This is just a pile of rocks. We perfected the concept." A customer at my bookstore in Dublin asked for the American literature section. I pointed him to it. He came back a few minutes later and said, "Where are the Harry Potter books?" I explained that J.K. Rowling is British. He argued with me for 10 minutes, insisting that anything that's popular and well-written has to be American. My cousin is a chef in a small town in Thailand. An American tourist sent his pad thai back to the kitchen. complaining that it was too spicy and authentic. He demanded that they remake it to be more like the pad thai from Panda Express in Ohio, the way it's supposed to be. I was working at the Australian Zoo. An American visitor asked me where the kangaroos with boxing gloves were. He was genuinely disappointed when I told him that was just a cartoon stereotype. He said, "Well, that's false advertising. America doesn't lie about its national animals. Our bald eagles are bald and they are majestic." On a flight to Cairo, the American man next to me saw me reading a book about ancient Egyptian history. He leaned over and said, "You know, it's a shame what happened to them. Great empire. They just didn't have the American ingenuity to adapt and survive. We would have figured it out." A young American backpacker in a hostel in Prague told a group of us that he was improving the local culture by teaching the bar staff how to make a proper peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He was genuinely confused when no one was interested in his culinary lesson or his sandwich. At a museum in Athens, an American tourist was loudly complaining that none of the ancient statues had arms. "It's just lazy," she said. If this was in an American museum, they would have fixed them by now. We believe in presenting a complete product to the customer. I was working the information desk at the Louvre. An American asked me, "Which way to the Mona Lisa? I only have 15 minutes to do the whole museum." I gave him directions. He then asked, "Can you just tell me what the best stuff is? I want the American-approved speed run. No boring foreign art." A guy on my tour of a Scottish whiskey distillery refused to sample the single malt. He loudly announced, "I only drink Jack Daniels. It's the best in the world because it's from Tennessee. This stuff probably tastes like dirt. You guys should import some real American whiskey, then you'd have a successful business." In a quiet cafe in Vienna, an American family let their kids run wild, screaming and climbing on furniture. When the owner politely asked them to control their children, the father said, "We're on vacation. We're American. We don't believe in suppressing a child's spirit. Maybe you Europeans should try being less uptight." My sister, a flight attendant, had an American passenger who demanded a domestic beer on a flight from Frankfurt to Tokyo. She explained they only had German and Japanese beer. He replied, "This is an American airline, isn't it?" She said, "No, sir. It's Lufthansa." He huffed, "Well, you should still serve us. We're the reason you have an airline." An American tourist at a market in Marrakesh tried to pay for a rug with US dollars. The vendor politely declined. Asking for Moroccan dirham, the tourist got angry. "This is ridiculous, let's say this. The dollar is the global currency. It's real money. Your money is basically worthless outside this little town. You should be grateful." I overheard an American in a pub in London telling his friends, "The best part about traveling is seeing how much better America is. Like, their history is cute, but ours is important. We landed on the moon. What did these guys do? They invented warm beer." A student in my international relations class in the UK argued that the United Nations should be moved from New York to a neutral country. When the professor asked for an example, he said, "I don't know, maybe Texas. It's big and nobody really cares what happens there. So it's perfect." Working at a hotel in Iceland, a guest from the US called the front desk at 200 a.m. during the summer to complain that the sun was still up. "Can you guys do something about the sun? It's keeping me awake." In America, the sun knows when to set. It's just basic scheduling. An American tourist at the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam asked the guide if Anne Frank had a TikTok account. The guide was speechless. The tourist continued, "It's just like she would have gotten so many followers. It's a missed opportunity for her brand. We're really good at that in the States." At a vineyard in the south of France, an American visitor tasted a 20-year-old Bordeaux and said, "It's okay, but it's no Napa Valley. You can really taste the history of freedom in Californian wine. This just tastes European." A man on a bus tour through the Swiss Alps complained that the mountains were too pointy. He told the guide, "In America, our mountains, like the Rockies, are bigger and more majestic. These are just jagged. It feels unsafe. You should really smooth them out a bit for the tourists."